What an ugly picture frame. I cannot believe Gus has this hanging in his office.
Bro. Gus is finally doing something about this putrid picture frame. The picture is highly sentimental to him as it was given to him by the United States Air Force Thunderbirds for coordinating an airshow in Phoenix, Arizona. Way back in 1991.
Berwick. I suspected Gus was a procrastinator.
Well, hello again, this is Natasha from the land from down under. Gus asked me back to narrate another of his videos and I delighted to participate. As Berwick and Broer mentioned earlier, Gus has chosen to replace an old, beat-up, government issue frame with a beautiful Purple Heart epoxy frame. Here he is milling the Purple Heart to make 2 rails and 2 styles for the frame. Once finished milling the frame, Gus turns to the centerpiece tool in his shop, his Axiom CNC. The following shows a 60-degree V-bit carving the jets, the jet exhaust, and the words, Williams Air Force Base Airshow Coordinator, March 1991. Gus explained to me that his year-long duty of airshow coordinator was one of his most challenging, yet rewarding job he had in the Air Force. The air show near Phoenix, Arizona, drew approximately 200,000 interested spectators. Turning back to the project, Gus used this space-age-looking jig to join the rails and styles. This jig is manufactured another outstanding Canadian company known as Lee Industries Limited. Lee Industries, probably better known as producer of the Lee Dovetail jigs, has produced an awesome jig that makes it easy to create all different types of mortises and tenons. And Gus loves the dust collection and portability of the jig. The Lee FMT Pro jig utilizes a plunge router that follows the shape of the selected mortise and tenon template. Gus loves the simplicity of the setup, as he just follows the template with his Makita plunge router.
Berwick, Natasha pronounces rotor differently than we do in the Northern Hemisphere. Maybe someday we can visit her in Leonora, Australia.
I believe this RP2301FC is Gus's favorite toy in his shop. With 3¼ horsepower, this awesome machine reminds him of when he was flying his fast jets with afterburners.
Berwick, what in the world is Gus doing here?
Broer. It appears Gus is playing Rubik's Cube with his frame parts.
As we can see, Gus is liberal with the glue, but he uses drinking straws to remove the excess glue. Gus recently purchased the Merkur sander after a ton of research. He has not been disappointed one bit. He believes this is the best sander on the market. Dust collection, low vibration, and ease of use make it outstanding. Here Gus is sealing the carvings for epoxy preparation. Applying epoxy produces heat and bubbles, so it's prudent to use a good sealer, such as sanding sealer, to close the wood pores. You can also apply clear epoxy as sealer, but Gus has found sanding sealer easier and less expensive to use. Gus told me that epoxy and wood are friends, also known as mates in the land down under. He believes they are a match made in heaven. The synergy produced from wood and epoxy are truly amazing. Gus believes the most important thing you can do when pouring epoxy is to ensure the project is level. Otherwise, you could have a real mess and disaster on your hands. When using the torch to remove bubbles in the epoxy, Gus is careful not to get too close and apply too long. Otherwise, the epoxy could become distorted when it dries. It doesn't take much longer than a couple of hours for the epoxy to harden, but Gus usually waits 24 hours before taking the sander to the hardened epoxy. As you may have noticed in Gus's shop, he loves woodpecker's tools and jigs. The jig he is using in this segment is the variable router jig. Using router guide bushings, woodpecker's variable router jig lets you create a rectangular or square template of various sizes. Where most woodworkers would route the rabbets in the back of the frame prior to assembly, Gus decided to try out this jig after assembly. Using the Festool 1400 router, the rabbets turned out perfectly. However, you'll need a chisel to make the rabbets square at the corners. Woodpeckers has a couple of excellent videos on YouTube that takes you from unpacking to using the variable router jig. Gus loves flexibility in his shop, and this jig is just the ticket.
Berwick. I thought OD's oil was oldie oil, something Gus uses in his hair. Gus is old, isn't he?
Broa. Gus is getting up there in age. I heard him talking once about using a slide ruler in college. Can you believe they did not even have calculators?
No, Gus does not use OD's oil in his hair. But he does love to apply it to many of his wood products, especially with epoxy. The oil is easy to use. No sanding between coats. Just wipe on, buff off. Just that easy. OD's wax is applied similarly to OD's oil. Gus likes a final coat of wax to protect wood from UV rays. It has a pleasant fresh citrus aroma and buffs up to a glossy finish.
Well, I hope you enjoy watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Let's now talk about my 3 takeaways from the video. First of all, as you can see, I love new tools, and I love the jigs that go with them. I love to apply them in videos and show how they perform, and I will expect to do this in the future as long as my budget can hold up buying these tools, as I do not get compensated 1 cent from any of the companies. Second, as Natasha said, I do love using epoxy in woodworking. I love the synergy that's basically accomplished through using the CNC machine, your routers, and the epoxy. And you can expect in future videos that I'll have more of the epoxy projects to offer. And finally, let me explain to you why I spend a lot of time making these videos. It's obvious that I have a real passion for woodworking, as I did with flying, but that ended many, many years ago, and woodworking is something that I can continue to do for the rest of my life. The other thing I like about you can create legacies, and here's an example of one. I made this sign for my in-laws who lived out on the lake, Manola, in northeastern Pennsylvania. And their family had been in the cottage for over 100 years, so that's why I created this. And now that my father-in-law is gone and my mother-in-law lives in South Carolina, I've basically taken the sign, and it's going to be part of my shop for the rest of my days. So thanks again for watching my video, and I look forward to having you look at my next one coming up in about a week. Bye. Aurora, do you like the river? Here comes the big guy. Is he going to get in? Is he going to lie down? Oh yeah, there he goes. Eric, do you like this too? You got to copy everything that Aurora does, don't you? Guys love this guy. Like Paul says, this is like being at a Marriott.